One day I stumbled across a Japanese book called The Courage to be Disliked. And my first thought was, what? The courage to be disliked? Are you mad? As if to be disliked was a virtue. But then it got me thinking. In fact, I couldn't get it out of my head. And over the course of several days, the meaning of the title slowly revealed itself to me. Through every interaction, I felt this force of nature influencing every thought, decision, and behavior I had. And so I went back to the store and I bought the book, and with every chapter, it felt like another layer of life was being peeled back. Things I had felt intuitively but couldn't really put my finger on or put words to were now suddenly tangible and concrete. There are many insights from the book of profundity, but even though I've read it twice now, if I tried to juggle them all in my mind, I think my head would explode. So today, I'd just like to talk about one. Oh. I recently moved to Japan, of all places, to snowboard and travel and yada yada yada, find myself. And you'd think the scariest thing would be, moving to a foreign land that's as different from home as possible, or doing the extreme sport of snowboarding, but no. It's the moving into the house of 40 strangers, which in introvert terms, if you don't know, is essentially the seventh circle of hell. So far it's been great, it's been cool, with a couple of not so great unintended adventures along the way, but that's for another time. And so when I read this book, it really made me understand just how much this fear of being disliked motivates our behavior and controls our life, and how to untangle the mess that is interpersonal relationships. And so first, foremost, and well, only the separation of tasks. The separation of tasks merely states that you are responsible only for your own tasks in life, and that the infringement on other people's tasks by you, or the infringement of your task by others, is the cause of almost all interpersonal relationship problems. At first, my mind rebelled against the idea that you can't infringe on anyone else's tasks, but that's because I was confusing entanglement with connection. Connection is where two people that are taking care of their own tasks independently share that with each other. Entanglement, however, is when two people, instead of taking responsibility for their own tasks in life, instead try to impose their will on other people's tasks. And that just causes friction and fights and interpersonal relationship problems, you get it, so on and so forth. Okay, this is all pretty abstract for the moment, so let me give you an example. When I was younger, I'm talking like early high school, I was a little needy. And I had this one friend that I liked hanging out with, and one day I texted him, asking him to hang out, and he didn't respond. And so I texted him again, and again, and again, with each text getting slightly more aggressive and accusatory. At one point telling him that, I know you're online, you better text back now, we're gonna hang out. J'accuse.
Know what we do to prisoners who don't cooperate? We hook them up to the books.
Eventually, he texted back like I was asleep, bro. And yeah, I know this because years later, I went back through the text, reading them with disgust and a pinch of self-loathing. And I realized in that moment that I had a problem overstepping my bounds and infringing on other people's tasks, because the only task that I had was to invite him to hang out. His task was to either accept or deny. The only thing I achieved by trying to influence his task was pushing him further away. Now this is kind of an extreme example where I went kind of like psycho girlfriend mode, but we overstep our bounds all the time. From giving that unsolicited piece of advice that no one asked for,
You jerk off?
to stepping in at work to help someone but really just taking over and not allowing them to learn from their own mistakes. This is something I've had to consciously be aware of and try to stop myself from doing, because I don't know if you noticed, but I love giving unsolicited advice. In fact, I'm planning on making a career out of it. What you're sub-communicating whenever you do this to someone is that you're above them, that you know best, and that they should listen to you. So I am trying to humble myself and stop giving unsolicited advice, and reject the notion that I know any better how to run someone else's life and just resign to running mine. But not only does the separation of tasks help us to stop meddling in others' lives, it also shields us from other people trying to meddle in ours. To live authentically and to be ourselves around others is hard, and usually we just end up trying to anticipate what other people would like and we just perform whatever we think that is. But with the separation of tasks, it severs this pathway and reveals the path of authenticity. Take me for example, shocker. I am currently surrounded by cool, beer drinking, weed smoking, sex having peers. It would be so easy for me to conform to whatever I think they'll like and pretend this YouTube thing doesn't exist and hide it away in the closet, grab a beer instead. But by using the separation of tasks, I'm only focused on what my tasks are. And the task I've set for myself for this season is to make videos, stay in shape, snowboard as much as possible, and remain as open as I can to the people around me. Those are the tasks I've set based on the values I have and what will make me happy. What is not my task is what others think of me, the conclusions they draw, or how they treat me. That is completely in their court, and I think I'm finally at peace with that. So I encourage you to reflect on what your tasks are in this world. What are the things that are gonna make you happy? And then just simplify your life. Just make the conscious decision to say, this is all I'm going to focus on. Everything else is someone else's task to do with what as they please, and it will do me no benefit. It will be a waste of time and energy to put any thought or feeling into other people's tasks. So yeah, that's the conclusion I've come to. If you found it helpful, I highly recommend reading the book because I just butchered this philosophy to no end. Yeah, the book is life-changing, so go grab the book. This is not sponsored, believe it or not. They did not pay a 500 subscriber channel to sponsor their book. I know, I'm as surprised as you are, to be honest. But that's about it, so fuck off. I think I'm starting to really get the hang of this whole being disliked thing. Yeah, just be obnoxious, who knew?